What are some things you think that the offense needs to improve on? Passing.
And when you have weapons like they do on the outside, A.J. Brown, throw it up to 11. 6, Devontae Smith, probably the best 2 in the game right now. So if those guys are healthy out there, you definitely want them to be throwing the ball.
I could assume this isn't sitting well with Philly fans. We know how they are. And like if your team was this good and you had a wide receiver complaining about this, that's just classic Philly.
I was on the fence about making a video about this storyline, primarily because there's so much stuff to cover in the NFL. And I feel like we've made content on what's going on with the Philadelphia Eagles before, and ultimately they have a lot of success, so it doesn't really matter at the end of the day. But what's going on recently is a little atypical, and at the very minimum, the results of what's going on is leading to some funny reactions from some Eagles legends. So before we get to the content, we are less than 20,000 subscribers away from getting to 1 million subscribers, so make sure you subscribe and turn on our notifications to help us reach this milestone. And now that we got all that out of the way, so we're pretty much being given free money again. You remember on Thanksgiving when Tyreek Hill only needed 1 receiving yard, and then we just need to make 1 correct prediction to 3x our money? And we hit on Thanksgiving, and now all Patrick Mahomes needs is 1 passing yard versus the Cleveland Browns. So we only need to make 1 prediction to 3x our money again. To take advantage of this opportunity, click the link in the description down below, or use my promo code Mikerophone when you sign up for PrizePicks to get a free $50 when you make a play of $5 or more. Now, unfortunately, I already 3x'd my money. Yeah, I paired Patrick Mahomes with Josh Allen throwing for over 242 passing yards versus the LA Rams, and could you blame me? The Rams are one of the worst passing defenses in the entire league, and I was certain this was gonna hit. Now, I posted this pick onto my Instagram story, so if you followed me on Instagram, you would have seen that pick, but if you didn't, don't worry. I still make plenty of picks on a daily basis for you to pair the Patrick Mahomes free square with another one of my favorite picks for this upcoming weekend, and I have a pretty good track record of hitting whenever we have a free square. So make sure you use my promo code Mikerophone when you sign up for PrizePicks to get a free $50 when you make a play of $5 or more, and hurry up and sign up before they move the lines, because we want to take advantage of the odds we have. And thank you, PrizePicks, for the sponsor. Mic check 1 2 1 2. What's going on, everybody? It's my responsibility to preface this video by letting you all know that I unfortunately am a Dallas Cowboy fan. Yeah, I know. I'm not a big fan of it either. I always ask my dad why he did this to me. I think it's very important to preface this video with such, just in case people think I'm very biased towards the Philadelphia Eagles, but to be honest, I'm very envious of the Philadelphia Eagles. Like, don't get me wrong, I can't stand Nick Sirianni, and I get annoyed at Jalen Hurts' cliche interviews and the fact that he speaks in Instagram captions.
I carry my scars with me everywhere I go. I don't forget. Do I waste my energy worrying about the opinion of someone else, opinion of a sheep? No. But I truly invest my focus in me getting better as a team, getting better as a player, getting better as a quarterback, and doing the things I need to do for my team. So everybody in their opinion don't deposit at the bank.
With that aside, drafting Jalen Carter with the top 10 pick was a brilliant move. Selecting Quinyon Mitchell in the NFL draft this past year was an incredible move. Trading for A.J. Brown was an incredible decision, clearly, and then signing Devontae Smith and A.J. Brown to extensions before the entire wide receiver market was reset this past summer was another incredible move. Do all of their moves always pan out? No, but at the end of the day, all a fan wants from his NFL team is to be able to have optimism about their team potentially being able to perform in the postseason. And as a result of the decisions that Howie Roseman and the Eagles make, this team is consistently in the hunt to potentially make it into the Super Bowl. And this is coming from a Dallas Cowboy fan. It's much easier rooting for a team like the Philadelphia Eagles as opposed to a team that traded more for Jonathan Mingo than the Chiefs did for DeAndre Hopkins or the Bills did for Amari Cooper, or to not have to root for a coach that likes to punt it from his own 30-yard line in the first quarter of a nationally televised game. Yes, we actually did that. So although I am unfortunately a Cowboy fan, I don't want you guys to think that this video is coming from a place of disdain for the Philadelphia Eagles, because I have a lot of respect for the way that this team is constructed, even though in my heart and soul, I absolutely despise this team and I hope they always lose. Regardless, this team has never been more prolific offensively than this past year. The signing of Saquon Barkley was a little bit of a risk given his injury history, but if fully healthy, there's no question about it that putting Saquon Barkley behind the best offensive line in football football was going to yield incredible results, to my great displeasure. So you would think as a result of Saquon Barkley having a MVP caliber season that all the rest of the Philadelphia Eagles offense would be clicking. And don't get me wrong, at the time that we're making this video, the Philadelphia Eagles are within a game away from potentially being a first round bye, and they could actually get there depending on if the Minnesota Vikings are able to defeat the Detroit Lions in the final week of the NFL season. So the Eagles could definitely clinch a first round bye, and things are really working out for them. They're currently in the midst of a 9-game winning streak. However, fans pointed out that their last victory against the Carolina Panthers wasn't as convincing as it should have been. Hell, you could even make an argument that their victory against the Baltimore Ravens was also not as convincing as it should have been. If Justin Tucker didn't forget how to kick versus the Baltimore Ravens, then the Philadelphia Eagles would have lost. And if Xavier Leggett didn't drop a pass versus the Philadelphia Eagles, then all of a sudden the Eagles are on a 2-game losing streak. Now, these aren't really things that you pay attention to whenever you happen to have only lost 2 games all season long, but there is a situation that fans are paying attention to, and it's the way Jalen Hurts is playing football currently. Now, if you take a look at Jalen Hurts' numbers statistically, you would think that there's nothing wrong with him. I mean, he has a 68% completion percentage, he's thrown for over 2,600 passing yards, 16 touchdowns, and 5 interceptions this year. And bear in mind, he's a dual threat QB, so he's also added 544 rushing yards and 13 touchdowns on the ground this year as well, meaning he is responsible for 29 touchdowns and only 5 interceptions this year, and he's fumbled the ball 8 times as well, so he's also responsible for 13 turnovers this year. The team is winning, but fans, for some reason, aren't a huge fan of him.
Jalen Hurts is not the answer.
Big time win. Hurts balling out. Psych, he didn't do anything.
We gotta run the ball. I don't know what we're doing. Why 2nd and 1? Run the freaking football.
The Eagles should have won by more. I'm disappointed.
Now you might be wondering, why is this the case? Now, this is where it gets a little controversial. AJ Brown and Devontae Smith are apparently very frustrated with Jalen Hurts. Now, this is where this video is going to get a little divisive, because on one hand, you can see all year long that AJ Brown and Jalen Hurts have been cool at times. And in case if you were wondering, Nick Sirianni backs this up, by the way.
All I can judge things on is what I see on a daily basis. When I'm eating lunch together every single day, praying with each other before the game, like, I have more information. I see them every single day. I see what's going on in the building.
But then at the same time, AJ Brown was asked how this team could improve, and this is what he had to say about it.
What are some things you think that the offense needs to improve on? Passing.
Okay, so this may be a little problematic. Look, on a scale of 1 to 10, and 10 being Antonio Brown / Terrell Owens, I'd probably say AJ Brown is hovering around like a 6.5 on the wide receiver diva scale here. And to be honest, I don't really understand why. I mean, it's not like he's in a contract year. Yeah, his numbers kind of dipped from last year, but he missed a few games due to injury, but he still has 836 yards receiving on the season and 4 touchdowns. But then you take a look at what went down versus the Carolina Panthers, and you start to get an idea of why he could be frustrated. And as a matter of fact, who better to explain this than former Philadelphia Eagle Emmanuel Acho?
Of course, AJ Brown, the man in the pink cleats, is upset. If he wasn't upset, he wouldn't be human. I'm gonna show you all about 6 plays. Right now, back foot, Jalen, you're looking at him, get rid of the ball. If AJ Brown was not upset, he wouldn't freaking be human. The man in the pink cleats, people. If AJ Brown, bottom of the screen, and it is human for him to be this open, he's open. Let it rip, Jalen. He's open, you're looking at him, the ball's cocked, let it rip. If he wasn't upset, he wouldn't be human. Look at AJ. It is only fair that AJ be upset. Right now, watch him, man in the pink cleats. Let it rip. The very next time, the Eagles run essentially this exact same play. The same play. Roughly the same play. In breaking route. This time, Jalen does let it rip. Completion, AJ Brown, break tackle, first down. If AJ Brown was not upset, he wouldn't be human. Man in the pink cleats, top of the screen. Hey, it's one-on-one, Jalen. It's one-on-one. Post safety's not even leaning his way. You have AJ Brown, a top 5 receiver in football, one-on-one, and the post safety is not even leaning his way. Give the man a shot. You know what they say in football. If he's even, he's leaving. It is only human to be mad at this. Now, this is a touchdown play. Make no mistake about it, but why make it so difficult on yourself? Man-to-man coverage. Pick. AJ, if he wasn't upset, he wouldn't be human, y'all. I mean, dude's wide open. I get it. It's a touchdown. Shout out to the Eagles for winning the game always and forever. But why take the easy route? A.J. Brown, pink cleats. You can't even miss him. If he wasn't upset, family, he wouldn't freaking be human. You be mad too.
And again, this gets kind of divisive, particularly in that slant pick play in the red zone, because some fans are saying, oh my God, look at AJ Brown. He's wide open. Why wouldn't Jalen Hurts throw it to AJ Brown here? But then at the same time, you can make a very legitimate argument that if Jalen Hurts throws this ball to AJ Brown, then bam, that's a hospital ball. And you could probably make an argument that Jalen Hurts may have preserved AJ Brown's season. You could make an argument that this was a business decision to make sure AJ Brown is around for the offseason. Even as a fan of the Dallas Cowboys, a lot of these aren't necessarily his fault. They're more like unfortunate circumstances. Now, this is the first play of the game, and it's an example of just Jalen Hurts being placed in a very unfortunate situation. If you freeze frame right here, AJ Brown is wide open on this 3 levels concept. It's a very simple read here. The Panthers are in some sort of cover 3 zone. JC Horn has to make a decision. Typically, JC Horn has to be all the way back here, but typically your first read is in the middle in this concept. So Horn recognizes this and abandons his zone to cover Devontae Smith, which means AJ Brown is wide open. What's further compounding a lot of people's frustration with this play is look at how clean Jalen Hurts' pocket is. Look at all the white jerseys in the middle, which means that the deep route is probably wide open here. Now, there are multiple arguments that could be made here. At this point, Jalen Hurts went through all of his reads and made the decision that nobody was open, so he checked it down to Jahan Dotson right here. And on one hand, you could say this is very frustrating because this could have been a home run, and if you're AJ Brown, you want that home run more than anything. At the same time, you could say Jalen Hurts did what he's supposed to do. An unfortunate circumstance. He already moved on to his final read. But the thing is, he had the opportunity to wait here. I mean, like, there was no pressure on Jalen Hurts at all whatsoever here. And if you're AJ Brown and you missed most of September and your last game against the Baltimore Ravens wasn't up to AJ Brown standards, you only had 5 receptions for 66 yards and you wanted that home run ball, and the last time you had a 100+ yard receiving game was against the Rams, I guess you could be frustrated at that. Now you might be thinking, Mike, you're just making this video because you're a Cowboy fan and you hate the Eagles. But there is actually something going on here, because Brandon Graham would have this to say about AJ Brown and Jalen Hurts' relationship.
The person that's complaining need to be accountable. You know, I don't know the whole story, but I know that one is trying. And I mean, 11 could be a little better with how he responds to things. They was friends before this. It's like, man, things have changed, and I understand that because life happens. We need to be able to talk things out as men. We need to let personal stuff go. It's like a lot of stuff, most of the time, it's just a conversation that just need to be had.
And look, I'm gonna be honest, some of these plays, if you freeze frame them, look absolutely terrible. But the reality is football isn't a game where you can sit there and freeze the game and then have the quarterback look at all the wide open options. I mean, in this particular play, I mean, it really just doesn't look good. I mean, practically every single player on the Eagles offense is open. So what do you think Jalen Hurts ends up doing when there's 3 routes in front of him? He ended up scrambling and throwing the ball away. Now, at the end of the day, no matter how you feel about this, I think we can all come to the conclusion that the way AJ Brown decided to go about this was completely incorrect. You're not supposed to make a big deal out of these things. You're supposed to keep it in-house, particularly if your team is a Super Bowl contender. You shouldn't be giving schmucks like me an opportunity to create content on you guys. I mean, don't get me wrong, I'm not mad about it, but it's like, what are you doing? Why are you trying to create a distraction when your team has a very legitimate chance at winning the Super Bowl? You can't be giving the media these types of sound bites. I mean, I'm happy about it, but your teammates don't like you because of it, and Jalen Hurts certainly doesn't like you because of it. Now, I do want to say that ever since this Brandon Graham report came out, he has stated that he made a mistake, and I assume that it was something that it wasn't. I just want to win so bad that I don't just want to use the media when we need to talk about something and we can fix the problem ourselves. I didn't add to it in a good light, so that's my bad. Yeah, I mean, I think they teach you this in media training. You're not supposed to come out and say, hey, they used to be cool, but now they're not, and I don't know what's going on. You're supposed to say, this is a team thing, and the team will figure it out, and that's it. Now, if I told you the reason I ended up deciding to make this video, you guys would think I'm a certified lunatic. Philadelphia Eagles fans are very familiar with this type of drama because 20 years ago, their Super Bowl contending team with their all-pro dual threat quarterback had beef with their all-pro wide receiver. Donovan McNabb and Terrell Owens really didn't like each other. I don't want to get into the specifics of why because that's a whole video in of itself, and if you guys want us to make a video on it, let us know in the comment section and we'll get to work on it immediately. But the reason I decided to make this video is because I was drawing this parallel in my head, and of course Donovan McNabb had to come out and give his take on the situation, saying it's two grown men. If you got an issue, you come to me. Let's not go through the media, because now it blows up and now what you said is out there in front of everybody. And I was just sitting there waiting, man. I was just waiting for this because there's no way that Terrell Owens was going to let this slide, and lo and behold, he actually commented on this. Now this is interesting coming from you, not how I interpreted it, but funny thing is, I agree with you on the idea of if you have issue with someone that you go to them and not the media. But here's the thing, I never had an issue with you, but it's known that you had an issue with me. So maybe you should have taken your advice here. Oh yeah, and we might have won Super Bowl 39, but that's another story for another day. Just my 2 cents. You gave yours, I'm giving mine. Hey, Freddie Mitchell 84, thanks for sharing. Which probably means that Freddie Mitchell, who was also a wide receiver on that team, sent T.O. Donovan McNabb's tweet and said the audacity of this man saying these things. It's just interesting because we've seen this drama happen 2 decades ago, and it seemed like history might be repeating itself. Now, normally I would say that I'd be very disappointed if Jalen Hurts and AJ Brown let their drama get in the way of them potentially winning a Super Bowl. But then again, that's where my Dallas Cowboy fandom comes in. I would love for that to happen. It would definitely be a shame, don't get me wrong, but screw the Eagles, right? At the end of the day, this is one of the most talented teams in the NFC. Hopefully they're able to right the ship, and hopefully this just gets squashed over the next couple of weeks because we're in December now, and the Eagles do have an opportunity to win a Super Bowl. They're one of the best offenses in the NFL. Saquon Barkley is an MVP candidate. There isn't a single hole on this offense, and their defense is fairly solid too. The only team that's getting in their way is themselves. So let me know in the comment section down below, what do you guys think? Do you think there's any legitimacy to this? Do you think it's overblown by the media? I'd like to hear what you have to say. Aside from that, I'm your boy Mike, and I'm dropping our mic until our next upload.